This is Radio Taiwan International.
Welcome to the news on Radio Taiwan International. I'm Joey Chow, coming to you from Taipei, Taiwan, and we begin with a look at today's top stories for 2025, October 9th. Taiwan highlights shared security challenges at National Day event in France. Foreign Minister says cultural and think tank diplomacy keeps Taiwan relevant. And finally, Economic Minister says that energy supply is diverse enough to withstand Chinese blockade. But first, today's top story. At this year's National Day reception hosted by the Bureau de Représentation de Taipei de France on Wednesday, Taiwanese representative to France, Hao Peizhi, noted that Europe is currently facing gray zone harassment from Russia and said Taiwan is willing to share its experience in countering similar tactics from China. Taiwan-France relations have made significant strides in recent years, with the annual National Day celebration in Paris attracting large numbers of distinguished guests, including French officials, artists, and cultural figures. Chair and Vice Chair of the Taiwan-France Friendship Group in the French National Assembly, Marie-Noëlle Battistel and Rachid Temal, were also in attendance. Speaking at this year's event, Hao highlighted that 11 European countries have recently been subjected to complex threats such as Russian drone intrusions, submarine cable sabotage, and election interference through disinformation campaigns. Hao said that while this is a new experience for Europe, gray zone harassment has become a nearly daily occurrence for Taiwan.
We
believe that Taiwan, as a free and democratic society, can offer its experience in successfully responding to complex intrusions by authoritarian regimes.
Hao also emphasized Taiwan's leading advances in high-tech industries, particularly in semiconductors and chip manufacturing, and his willingness to work with France and the rest of Europe to build a, quote, non-red supply chain. Battistel and Temal also spoke at the event, reflecting on their recent visit to Taiwan and underscoring the importance of continued bilateral cooperation. Both emphasized the strong and expanding ties between the two nations, spanning culture, trade, and parliamentary diplomacy, and reaffirmed France's firm support for Taiwan amid global uncertainties. In an exclusive interview with Radio Taiwan International's Good Morning Taiwan program on Wednesday, Foreign Minister Lin Jialong shared insights from his recent visit to Europe and described how Taiwan can continue building meaningful relationships despite diplomatic constraints. Lin visited Europe twice in September, heading first to the Czech Republic, Italy, and Austria to pursue what he defined as cultural diplomacy. He then visited Poland to attend the Warsaw Security Forum in a move he defined as think tank diplomacy. According to Lin, cultural diplomacy is a particularly effective tool for engaging with Europe, as it enables other countries to gain a deeper understanding of Taiwan and see it as more than just a high-tech island nation. The marginalization of Taiwan enables it to showcase itself in different ways, he said, and to demonstrate its cultural richness and diversity. Lin noted that Europe has been a key focus of Taiwan's cultural diplomacy in the latter half of 2025. He highlighted the Taiwan Pavilion that was featured at the Osaka Expo in Japan, as well as the Finding Taiwan International Short Film Contest, which invited contestants worldwide to produce short films on Taiwan's presence throughout the world. He emphasized that these initiatives show that while Taiwan may often be excluded on the international stages, its presence can still be felt. As for his experience in Poland, Lin said that while China may pressure countries to bar Taiwanese officials from participating in certain events in Poland, think tank activities remain an open venue. The Warsaw Security Forum has been a leading European conference for more than a decade, and it stands to reason that the world's foreign and defense ministers would endeavor to attend, Lin explained. Economic Minister Gong Mingxin said Thursday that Taiwan's energy supply is sufficiently diverse to cope with certain levels of disruption, even if China attempts to pressure the island through a maritime blockade. Gong's comments came after the Wall Street Journal reported Wednesday that U.S. war game simulations showed Taiwan's liquefied natural gas reserves could last only 11 days if its sea routes were cut off, a scenario that might force widespread power rationing. The report warned that nearly 97% of Taiwan's energy is imported by sea and LNG, used to generate almost half of its electricity. The report warned that nearly 97% of Taiwan's energy is imported by sea, and LNG, used to generate almost half of its electricity, represents the country's most crucial vulnerability in the event of a blockade. According to the report, even under normal conditions, Taiwan's grid operates with tight margins, sometimes just 4% above peak demand. The island's last nuclear reactor was shut down in May, and renewables currently make up less than 12% of generation. Taipei aims to raise that figure to 70% by 2050, though energy independence remains a long-term goal. Responding to the report, Gong said that renewable energy is projected to reach 20% of Taiwan's electricity generation by the end of 2026. Gong added that the Ministry of Economic Affairs will accelerate efforts to expand energy storage capacity and strengthen contingency measures to ensure greater resilience and stability in Taiwan's energy system.
这个能源的依赖度至少有20%是可以满足我们的。
That means at least 20% of our power will come from domestic sources, which can meet our needs. Together with thermal, hydro, and emergency reserves, Taiwan will still have a certain degree of support even in a crisis.
The National Development Council, NDC, has launched an online application platform under its 1 trillion NT dollars, approximately 33 billion US dollars infrastructure investment program, officially allowing insurance companies to channel funds into domestic infrastructure projects. According to the Financial Supervisory Commission, FSC, as of June, Taiwan's insurance industry holds 32.5 trillion new Taiwan dollars, approximately 1.07 trillion US dollars in usable capital, but only about 4.92 billion US dollars was invested in public projects or special initiatives. To better utilize the capital and attract private sector participation in national development, the NDC said it worked with the FSC to revise relevant regulations and formally open insurance investments in infrastructure. The Council defines infrastructure as projects or services that enhance public living standards, support agricultural and industrial production, spur socio-economic growth, and serve national interests. The measure, NDC said, will improve quality of life, boost industry, and ease fiscal pressure on the government. Department of Regulatory Reform Director Lin Fengwen said the updated criteria covers both traditional public works and privately built projects encouraged by central and local government for public benefit.
认定标准包括我们过去民间参与公共建设，还有其他法定规定的公共建设。
The criteria include public construction projects that have traditionally allowed private participation, as well as those defined under other existing laws. The key point is that this time, we've flexibly expanded the scope of what counts as infrastructure.
Effective immediately, private entities can apply via the NDC's online portal. Relevant authorities must review applications within 2 months. Once certified, companies may use the approval to attract insurance investments, while insurers can apply to the FSC for investment clearance and benefit from a lower risk coefficient to reduce costs. Nvidia executive Jensen Huang said the U.S. retains a clear lead in advanced chips, while China is rapidly advancing in open-source models and AI applications. Speaking Wednesday on CNBC's Squawk Box, Huang gave a wide-ranging response on U.S. China AI competition and President Donald Trump's immigration policies. Thanks for joining me for the news. I'm Joey Chow. Stay tuned for another 50 minutes of English language features brought to you by Radio Taiwan International.